All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome back to True Crime Loser. I hope you're doing well. I got a little bit of a cold. I feel like one of those ukulele YouTubers. There's a whole genre of just like cute girls that sing ukulele songs in their room, and every video they're like, "Oh, I'm a little bit under the weather, so this is gonna be the worst version of this song ever. I'm sorry." And then they start singing it, and it always sounds unimaginably perfect. It's like, okay, yeah, you sound pretty good to me. But anywho, I got a couple stories for you guys today. And so the first one is, truthfully, it is a total nightmare to make enough money doing comedy or whatever this is to live like a human being. And you get a few opportunities, and you got to really take advantage of them as it goes. If you even have opportunities, there's a lot of comedians that just nothing good happens the whole attempt, and then they're just like, all right, all right, so nothing good has happened in 10 years. Solid. Just gonna keep trying to believe in myself. It's not easy. It's a crazy business. But on October 7th of 2013, I got an email with the subject Letterman Showcase, and it reads, "Hi, Scott. We're hosting a showcase at Caroline's, which is an iconic comedy club in Times Square. We're hosting a showcase at Caroline's on 10/23 at 7:30 for our executive producers. Any chance you could make it? I've seen your material at Laughing Devil and have always thought you were a funny guy. We're asking people to do 5 to 7 minutes of television ready material, i.e. don't work blue and no swearing, smiley face. If you can, let me know ASAP. I'd appreciate it. Take care." And then her name and production associate / stand-up comedy booker, late night show or late show with David Letterman. As you can imagine, as a 27-year-old comedian, that was a real good email to get. Probably the best email that I've ever gotten. And so from this email to the showcase is 2.5 weeks. So for that 2.5 weeks, I felt successful. I was telling everyone, hey, I'm auditioning for Letterman. In my head, I'm like, I'm going to be on Letterman. It's a dream come true. I remember watching Letterman in my little room in Colorado. And now the booker of the stand-up comedy is emailing me. She knows my name. She's seen me before. And I just was walking on air. And I remember I went to the mall and bought myself a new outfit, which I should have known right there that was a bad sign. Some famous author, I can't remember who it is, said something like, "Beware of any endeavor that requires new clothes." And so I went and bought this cool outfit, hey, wearing, it's like I never would have worn it unless it was this type of thing. So I get this cool outfit, and I tell everybody I know I'm auditioning for Letterman. And the night of, I remember I wore this, instead of wearing, it was a cold night, instead of wearing my big, ugly, non-stylish down coat, I wore this fitted, cool leather coat that I have. And I go down, and I'm wearing my cool outfit, and I get to Caroline's, and I'm in the green room, and Joe List was auditioning that night, really good comic. Sarah Tulamoshe, I always say her last name wrong, sorry Sarah, but she's hilarious, one of my favorite. She was auditioning that night. Greg Warren, a classic American comedian, was auditioning that night. So we're all in the green room, just nervous. I'm wearing my stupid new outfit, just trying to get our head right. And the manager of the Carolines pokes his head in and goes, "Hey guys, so the health department is here on their annual check, so we're just going to wait to seat the audience until they leave." And we're like, okay, cool, thanks. And what he's talking about is once a year, the health department pays a visit to every single restaurant, bar, anything that serves food or drinks in New York, and really just shakes them down. To the point where I think a lot of restaurant owners are lobbying to change the system, because these guys just get there and they're always grumpy. It seems like they haven't been laid in 7 years, and they just go through the whole kitchen. And I mean, I understand if it's a true health risk, but the importance of it, so they give you a letter grade at the end. They open the fridge and they take the temperatures of every single thing and they move everything back and they look at this and they, and so if you have one thing in the walk-in freezer or whatever that the lid is, it's like a whole thing. And so they give you a letter grade, and then the establishment has to post whatever grade you get on the front door for a year. So if you get an A, it's great, but if it was a busy night in the kitchen and some lid was off or something and you get a B, it can really hurt the business, because people are walking around. It's like, hey, you want to get some seafood here? It's like, oh, they got a B. Ugh. That B could have been who knows what, but in your head you're like, ugh, they must like have throw up on all of their food or something. Let's go to a different place. And so the one night a year that this happens at this comedy club is the night of this audition. And so the show's supposed to start at 7:30, so 7:30 comes and goes, and 8 o'clock comes and goes, and 8:30 comes and goes. And the audience is out in the lobby area by the bar, and the vibe is just getting bad. You can hear people be like, what's going on? Is this a show? It's like when Guns N' Roses would be 3 hours late to come on because Axl Rose wouldn't be there, and the crowd went from like rock and roll to like, boo, what is going on? This sucks. So the vibe of the audience was just, and so finally at like 8:45, they seat everybody. And so it's like, it would be like if a restaurant went from totally empty to completely packed in 5 minutes. So they seat everybody. Everybody's like trying to get their coat off. It's packed while the servers are... Comedy club servers are good at what they do, because they're not only do they have to get food and drink to everybody quickly, but they have to do it quietly with, And so the servers are desperately trying to get everybody's food and drink order while everyone's sitting down. And they're like, all right, we got to start the show. So they bring the host up, which is a guy named Chris DiStefano. And he had just been on Letterman, and so he wasn't auditioning. I'm sure they were like, just, can you please host this? He's, real in with them. And so he gets up. He was also famous for MTV's Guy Code, but he's a funny guy. But he gets up. He's not trying to audition words to be on the show. All of us people auditioning have these 5 to 7 minutes of word for word. It's a very... Preparing a late night set is a very strict, very tight, because it's the exact words. If you're just doing a normal stand-up set, it's like, oh, you do one thing and then you think of something else, so you go this way, and then someone says something, so you comment on that. You end up doing that for a while. Then, all right, yeah, I'll come back. It's like loose, But this is very strict. All right, these are the words I'm trying to get on the show, so I'm trying to show that these words work. And so Chris gets up there to host, and I'm first. When we got there, the lineup was already up, and I'm first, which they call the bullet, taking the bullet. And because going first on a comedy show, the people aren't settled in yet, the drink, the food is still coming. You can't compete with the food coming. If you're up there, even if it's the greatest joke ever, and the server brings 2 pizzas, you'd better just pull out of the joke and be like, well, now this is a pizza party. Great. Didn't know I had to perform at a Chuck E. Cheese tonight. Just pull out of it, say something, wait for them to get a piece, and then start again. And so the bullet, to the point where, comedians will thank whoever went first. They're like, hey, man, thanks for taking the bullet. And I don't mind taking the bullet. But... So I'm first, so I'm sitting there seeing Chris, who's a real solid comic, just kind of looking around, being like, well, this is a disaster up here. Just being like, all right, I've got to just go up there and rock a set. This is the situation. So, and I get up there, and I'm wearing my cool outfit. This is the biggest opportunity of my whole life, and I flub my opener. Like the setup of a joke has to be right for the punchline to punch everybody out. And I've probably done this opener 300 times before this, and it's as solid of an opener as it gets, to the point where I made myself quit opening with it because I just didn't want it to be a crutch. And so I get up there and I'm like, all right, here we go. And I flubbed the words of the setup. It's like I switched a couple around, rendering it totally incoherent, and then I get to the punchline and nothing. Everyone was like, what? And I'm just starting to, now I start sweating in my cool new outfit. And then right as I'm in my head, so now I have a choice in my head. Should I just pull out of material and try to have a good set, or should I just keep plowing and with the words that I'm trying to get on the show? And I made the wrong decision. In my head, I was like, okay, I'm trying to get these words on the show. So, and this is all in the moment while I'm up there. I'm trying to get this on the show. And so they don't want to hear me just crowd work. And so I made the decision, I'm just going to try to keep it going with the material, which was not the right decision. Looking back, and I've talked to other comedians about this, in that situation, the most important thing is just have a good set. Pull out, have a good set. At least they'll say, all right, well, he was funny. He didn't do any of the material that we were going to decide to put on the show, but we'll put him on a different showcase or something. But I just had never been in that situation before, so I made the wrong decision, and I just kept plowing with material, and I started just bombing, like the worst kind of bombing. If everybody's silent and paying attention and just doesn't like you, in a way, bombing can be fun because you're just like, well, these people hate me. But the worst kind of bombing is when everybody just they just start talking, like you lose the room. You're up there doing stand-up and everybody just starts talking like, yeah, we'll catch the next guy. So I'm up there trying to make something happen, and then they seat this couple comes in late, which the show already started. How late? So they seat this couple in the front row, and I just hear him go, yeah, I'll have a margarita, and she'll have a margarita. And then all I could think about is, why not just say we'll have 2 margaritas? So I'm having the worst set I've probably had the whole year with the Letterman bookers in the back, and I'm in my head, I'm thinking about this guy's margarita order while my body and voice is doing stand-up. You don't ever want to be thinking about other things while you're just like up there. It just comes off as flat and horrible. So I just wrap up my horrific set and I get off stage, and so you can imagine I'm not in a good mood. And normally they would say, hey, stick around and shake people, talk to the producers and network and stuff afterwards. But I wasn't going to sit there and pretend I did well or go up to the producers and like, hey, thank you. Sorry that I bombed horrifically. So I just grabbed my coat and just left, just burst out of the doors, real mad. It had started snowing and was freezing, and I was wearing that stupid leather coat that's not even warm. So I'm walking through wet, snowy Times Square. I just felt ridiculous in the clothes that I was wearing and that stupid coat. But I don't know, there's something about having an opportunity that big and just blowing it that, I don't know, it was underrated in a way. And you can't beat experience, because Greg Warren was on the show, auditioning that night, and he was a really good wrestling coach, was a really good college wrestler, and he had seen me, I think, obviously bomb and then just leave, and he actually called me that night and gave me the whole coach thing, like, hey, keep your head up, you're in your 20s doing pressure sets, you're fine, don't worry about it, it happens. And I'm saying thanks for calling me. But in a way, so like later then, maybe like 6 months or a year later, I did an MTV showcase, and you can't beat experience, because I just showed up in the clothes I was wearing, not even feeling pressure, just being like, these are such a shit show anyway, I'm not going to get all worked up about it, just going to do my best. And I saw other comedians. It was their first showcase, and they're sitting there in their cool outfit, like looking over the list furiously, you know, shaking, wearing some jewelry that they never really wear. And I had a great set on that showcase, and ended up actually doing a pilot for MTV that didn't get picked up. That's a whole nother story. But yeah, you live, you learn, you know. So that's my story of completely blowing it on my David Letterman audition. And so I got another little story this week. So I haven't been around this week much, and the reason is that my landlord and I do not have a good relationship, and they have wanted me to leave for a long time. I think they want to charge way more, or I've been here for 6 years in this apartment, or maybe do something else with the building or the space, or I don't know. So they've tried throughout the years both legal and, in my opinion, borderline illegal ways to get me out, right? But mostly they've just left me alone for a while. And then about a year ago, it's like a management company, someone from that called me and said, hey, we need to come into your apartment, and we're going to switch out your gas stove with an electric stove, which I love my gas stove. The flame, you have the control of turning it off, the heat off, you know, instantly. And so they were like, we're going to switch out your stove, gas to electric. We're going to I got a real nice gas heater right here. It's an old, real solid, it works really well, gas heater. We're going to take that out, and we're going to install like this cheap Chinese central air system. So they're going to rip up all the ceilings and install this central air system, and they put they're going to hang the unit right outside my bedroom window. And so I was like, no, I don't want that. This is the way I moved in, and I like it. And so, you know, no offense, but sorry, you can't. And so didn't hear anything for a year. And then 2 days ago, right when I was about to record True Crime Loser, the landlord called, not one of his little assistants, the dude. And we haven't spoken in 5 years. And so what he was saying is that I can't give away too much information. This story, the whole story is insane, and I'll definitely tell you. It's perfect for this channel, if you know what I mean, too. So he essentially said that they're moving towards changing kind of the whole building, which would eventually evict. He didn't say they're flat out going to try to evict me, but he kind of insinuated that they're trying, you know, got a new plan for the building. And he then also said that he wants, for this whole new plan of the building, they want to get rid of all the gas, I'm pretty sure. So that's why they want to switch it to central air and get rid of my stove and the gas heater. And so he basically said, he kept saying, we can do this the nice way, or we can do it the hard. Yeah, that was his big line, the nice way. In my head, I was thinking, that's your big line. We can do this the nice way. I should have used some of my lines, like, we could do this the nice way. And I'm like, yeah, but we're not here for any reason. He would have been like, what? And I'm like, well, we're not here to dance. I have head injuries. It's like, you're not going to outline me. I have lines for days after doing this channel. So his big line was, we can do this the easy way or the hard way. So what he was saying is, either I let them in to do this major construction, or he's gonna take me to court and either go for eviction, or to have the court force me to do this construction. And they've done some sketchy things in the past, and also there's stories where landlords have used construction to just drive someone that they want to leave crazy. And so I don't trust that that's not what this is, where they're just gonna come in and they could just clap the ceiling and be like, oh, sorry, now this is a 6-month job. Enjoy this nightmare in your apartment. Or maybe they come in and they do something and they're like, oh, look, this apartment isn't safe or something. We got to evict it. Sorry, we got to move out. So I was like, yeah, you can't come in. Sorry. And he's saying, yeah, we can do this the nice way. And, you know, we need to get this done. And I was sitting there and I was like, how about you just pay me to leave? How about that? I'm not really interested in some construction thing. If you want, he kept saying my lawyer's going to file a thing, and And so I don't know. I really don't think that I'm in the wrong. So if his lawyer wants to file a thing, I can't stop him. But so I had to get a lawyer though, and then I'm going to meet with him early next week on like Monday or Tuesday. So the whole thing is just kind of a stressful nightmare all of a sudden. Probably going to have to either, so I think the options are either they pay me a little bit of money just to leave, or I got to do like a court thing, which is always a nightmare. And yeah, so that's where I was at this whole week. Is I wanted to do a big multi-part interrogation thing, and I sat down to watch. I had never seen Jennifer Pans, and I sat down to watch it, and I would pay attention for like 4 seconds, and then my mind would be like, oh crap, I got to get a lawyer, or like I got to do this is going to be terrible, I got to call that guy. So pretty crazy week for me. I try to get back on normal schedule and do one of those next week, but I'm going to cut it off there. I hope you guys had a great week and have a good weekend. See you next time. Why? Starving why?